come on along, join the caravan. Hear the stories and the songs from 100 different lands. We've got puppets, films and rhymes, tales from once upon a time. There's always a show, rain or shine, just look for the smiling caravan sign. Come on along, join the caravan. Step right up, come right in. The show is about to begin.
The Camel Who Took a Walk by Jack Tworkov and Roger Duvoisin. The forest was dark and very quiet. Not a creature was stirring. Even the wind had stopped breathing. Not a leaf was falling. Not a blade of grass was moving. And do you know why this was so? Because it was just the time between night and day, when night was ending and day was about to begin. All the creatures in the forest were very quiet, but the quietest of all was the tiger. He was lying at the foot of a tree by the side of a road that divided the forest in half. The tiger was very hard to see because he was hidden by leaves and vines and grasses. He was hidden also by the darkness. Suddenly, the first glimmer of light trembled in the sky. The sky, the forest, and even the air began to turn blue. Just then, on the road that divided the forest in half, far, far up that road, something, yes, something was moving. The tiger's eyes were open the tiniest crack. No, he was not sleeping, as he would have you believe. He was thinking and watching that thing draw nearer and nearer, and the sky was getting bluer and bluer, and the light on the road had turned pink, so you could see that the thing was a very beautiful camel. She was taking her morning walk with her head way up in the air. Her nose smelled the early morning sweetness, and her eyes took in all the colors of the sky. And the tiger was thinking, as soon as this beautiful camel comes to where the shadow of the tree falls across the road, I am going to pounce on her. But the tiger was not the only one who saw the camel walking down the road. Way up in the tree, on a branch directly over the tiger, sat a little monkey holding a coconut. He knew what the tiger was thinking about, so he said to himself, just as soon as the tiger is about to pounce on the camel, I will drop this coconut on his head. And all the while, the beautiful camel walked gracefully down the road, turning her pretty head this way and that, while the sky got brighter and brighter. But the tiger and the monkey were not the only ones who saw the beautiful camel. On the same tree, right behind the monkey's tail, a little squirrel with its bright little eyes had seen what was going on. And the little squirrel said to himself, as soon as the monkey is ready to drop the coconut on the tiger's head, I will bite his tail. All the while, the beautiful camel walked gracefully down the road, turning her pretty head this way and that, while the sky grew brighter and brighter. But the tiger, the monkey, and the squirrel were not the only ones who saw the beautiful camel. A little bird was watching what the tiger, the monkey, and the squirrel were up to. And the little bird said to himself, aha, I know what I shall do. As soon as the squirrel is ready to bite the monkey's tail, I shall pounce with my sharp claws upon his tiny head. Meanwhile, the camel was getting nearer and nearer, and the sun was getting hotter and hotter, and just as the camel had almost reached the shadow of the tree, and the tiger was getting ready, and the monkey was getting ready, and the others were all getting ready, the camel suddenly stopped and stretched her pretty neck way up in the sky, and she opened her mouth oh so wide, and she let out an awful yawn and said, "I think I'll go back." The tiger was so surprised that he didn't pounce on the camel, and the monkey didn't drop his coconut, and the squirrel didn't bite the monkey's tail, and the bird didn't pounce on the squirrel's head, and they didn't do all of these things all in the same instant. For just a tiny second, not a sound was heard. Then the little bird burst into a peal of laughter that pierced the forest. The squirrel began to chatter, and the monkey began swinging back and forth with such glee that all the creatures in the forest woke up crying, "What happened? What happened?" But you know what happened. Nothing happened. The beautiful camel just turned around and walked back the same way she had come. The tiger slinked away into the deep, dark forest. And the sun shone like brass in the sky.
The island of the Skog. It was National Rodent Day, a very important holiday for mice. Sort of like New Year's, Independence Day, Halloween, and your birthday all rolled into one. The neighborhood in which the mice lived was very dangerous because of mean animals like the butcher's cat, the German shepherd, and the members of the Riff Raff Rat Club. So these mice, Hannah, Wooster, Louise, Bouncer, and his buddies from the bowling alley rarely came out of their holes. But when National Rodent Day rolls around, the mice want to celebrate. They had all agreed to meet at their friend Jenny's place, the old clock in the antique shop.
I'm gonna print you a thing.
They all arrived shaking after a narrow escape from the butcher's cat. The mice were so badly frightened that Jenny decided to skip the main course and to wheel in the dessert right away. "Hot marshmallow cheesecake with raspberry fudge sauce," she announced. But the butcher's cat had slipped in with the delivery boy. Fortunately, the delivery boy heard the commotion and grabbed the cat just as the mice escaped to the basement.
"Let's fight for freedom," cried Bouncer. "We'll be soldiers, rough-riding rowdies. I'll be the general and commander-in-chief."
"Wait," cried Jenny. "I have a better idea." And she pointed up the basement stairs to the main part of the antique shop. High on the shelf was a model of a sailing ship, a ship much like the one Christopher Columbus sailed to America. But this was just the right size for a crew of mice. "Let's sail away instead. We'll find a peaceful island."
"I'll be the ship's captain," declared Bouncer. "Rowdies, you're my crew. The rest of you, look alive and lend a helping hand."
It took the mice most of the night to load the ship and roll it to the harbor. Ignoring the crowd at the pier, they sailed bravely out to sea. During the first few days of the voyage, the mice feasted on chocolate waffles and coconut cherry cheese pie. Between meals, they dreamed of their island and tanned their pelts in the sun. As the days passed, it grew colder and colder. The mice were unprepared for winter weather, and they huddled close to the waffle iron. The mice were beginning to think that they would never find the island of their dreams. By the time they reached warmer seas, their food supplies were very low. The mice were seasick, homesick, and convinced they would soon be dead. Suddenly, Jenny cried, "Land ho!" Wooster, who was the scholar on board, looked in the geography book. He said, "The book calls it the island of the Skog. It says population 1 Skog, but it doesn't say what a Skog is." "If there's only one, then there's plenty of room for all of us," said Louise. "Why don't we bring it a gift so it will know we're friendly?"
Wait a minute, flubberhead, snapped Bouncer. Suppose this Skog is dangerous. Let's blaze our way to the island and show him we mean business.
The rowdies fired all 12 cannonballs. And then the mice waded cautiously ashore.
I claim this land, cried Bouncer, as a place where all mice can live without fear. We will build a great kingdom dedicated to the freedom of mice. And I will be the king.
"Here, we can all feel like kings," said Jenny. "And that is the most important part of being king, as everyone knows." After unloading the supplies, the mice climbed back aboard the ship to spend the night. They were anxious to go exploring in the morning and needed a good night's sleep. At dawn, they discovered an enormous footprint in the sand. It was bigger than any mouse could ever make.
It looks like a bear track,
said Hannah.
Stand aside, tenderfeet, ordered Bouncer. This is a job for me and my rough-riding rowdies. We'll use my grandpap's favorite trick. First, dig a deep hole. Then, cover it with straw and bait it with honey. Tonight, the beast will smell the bait, stumble into the trap, and the island will be ours.
By evening, the trap was completed. The mice spent a sleepless night in a nearby hole. The next morning, they discovered that the trap and the honey jar were empty.
Look! Shrieked Hannah. Someone cut the rope! The ship is gone! We're marooned! Our only chance now, said Bouncer, is to get rid of the Skog before he gets rid of us. Who will volunteer?
It looks like a job for you and the rough-riding rowdies, said Jenny.
Whose idea was it to come here anyway?
All eyes turned back to Jenny, who had been thinking of a plan. "We must build a giant kite," she said, "and tie it to a very long rope. we'll circle our last honey jar with one end of the rope, and when the Skog steps into the circle, we will send the kite aloft. The Skog will be pulled into the air and towed out to sea. That night, the mice hid behind a sand dune and kept watch over the honey jar. Just after dawn, a shadowy figure appeared on the beach. The monstrous creature lurched toward the honey jar. Trembling, the mice sent their kite high into the ocean wind. The plan had worked. But suddenly, the Skog came flapping apart, and half of him plunged back to the island. Surrender, you pirate! Suddenly, a little animal appeared. "Don't hurt me!" he cried. "We won't hurt you," said Wooster. "We were afraid of you. Why did you wear this monster costume?" "Because I was afraid of you," cried the Skog. "I was frightened by your cannons and your trap. So I wore this monster costume to scare you away." "What happened to our ship?" demanded Bouncer. "I cut the rope because I thought you were sleeping on board. I've been so lonely here, but I decided it was better to be alone than to be afraid." Then the mice realized that they had done the same thing to the Skog that their enemies in the old country had done to them. "If only we'd talked to each other," said Jenny. Bouncer stepped forward and helped the Skog to his feet. The mice and the Skog agreed to build a new island nation and live together. "Let's make plans right now," suggested Bouncer. "The first thing we'll need is a national anthem. Rowdies, you're the orchestra. The rest of you will be the chorus, and I will lead the music. Line up, everybody." Well, Bouncer was certainly up to his old tricks again. But everybody thought that a national anthem was a pretty good idea. "Heroes, let your voices ring. To our island home we sing. Shelter us from stormy seas. Keep our kitchen stuffed with cheese. Save our pelts from lice and fleas. Save our pelts from fleas and lice. Shout it once. Shout it twice. Friends forever. Skog and mice." They sang chorus after chorus and soon went to work building their new island home. And they are probably still there.
parents. The stories in the Children's Circle series are based on outstanding books for children, which you can get from your public library, bookstore, or from CC Studios, Weston, Connecticut, 06883. Please phone 1-800-KIDS-VID. In Connecticut, 1-222-0002.